live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, keenly awaited, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsome, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. What's going on, folks, from around the world? Hope you're all doing phenomenal and fantastic, superbulously superb. There are a few traders here, and my good buddy Adriano from Brazil's in the house. What's up, my friend? Don is here. Anthony, Mike, Francois from the Montreal, Quebec area. Cheryl's here, says hello and good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're doing great. 2 to 3 very small, like, housekeeping projects. If you're watching this on YouTube or you receive this in your email, this is the substitute for the normal real-life stock review that I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I did do a stock review today, and for some reason, the audio got all jumbled, and it really just didn't translate well. I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this particular recording. So throw in a 1 if you guys can hear me okay. Just want to make sure. If the audio is cutting in or out, I apologize about that. On the recording, there might be a little lag between my voice and my speaking and the actual video that you see. So just kind of keep that in mind. This third thing I want to talk about at the end of this recording, even though for those who are here live, you can't see this yet, in post-edit, I'm going to put in the burpee challenge that I did yesterday. So at the beginning of July, you might remember that I mentioned to everyone that I was going to attempt to do 500 burpee push-ups in one day. I was going to do that in July. And so I've been doing burpees pretty much every single day since Health and Wellness back in May. And I want to try to get to 500, and I did that yesterday. So I filmed me doing the last 25 of those. That was pretty intense. It was pretty brutal. So you'll be getting that in the recording a little bit later. If you're watching this recording, it's at the very, very end. It's a pretty quick snippet. I didn't think it would be necessary to do the entire 500 burpees. You'll just have to take my word. I 100% did it, and I'm still a little sore. a little sore. We have so many things to talk about today. Really excited to dive in. So let's do just that. Tons of things to discuss. First and foremost, the broader markets, we can get through those pretty quickly because there's actually not a whole lot to talk about in that. Today we had a really interesting day on the SPY, at least I feel like it's interesting. You had this inside 2-day pennant pattern right here, and this is occurring at a resistance of which we have traded down to before, traded up to before. So if we roll over down to the 100, again, that's still a possibility, and I would be a buyer down here if that happens. Number 2, we could easily break out and continue bullish. I mean, this is a nice pennant, really good shape. Things are looking nice. I kind of dig it. So overall, I'd just say watch that very closely and just see if and when we do really pop out of here strongly on the SPY. But as of right now, I don't have any short-term positions on the SPY. Obviously got the longer-term stuff. Here's the IWM. And the IWM, a little bit of a bearish candle today, hanging out, right? We could come down to the 50, but we don't have any trade on that. Here's the Qs, and the Qs will be down tomorrow because of Netflix. But we will talk about Netflix today, don't you worry. But again, you did make a new all-time high on the Qs. Really small little candle. And honestly, this next upcoming week could be some really good opportunities to buy the dip. But I will be watching tomorrow for the Qs to gap down and trade higher. I think that is a really strong possibility, in fact. Unless, of course, we gap down perfectly. I'm just going to be watching for that. I'll watch the first 5-10 minutes, look for some candles. Maybe we continue down bearish, but I think if we gap down, we'll kind of very similar to how we did over here on the 11th of July. I think we could get a relatively similar candle. So that's the Qs. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the DIA actually was higher today. So the Dow showing a little bit of life, showing a little bit of strength. And then today is Merchant Monday, so we will look at XRT, which is the retail ETF. And XRT is trading pretty famously sideways, at least right now. The crazy part about it is we've already traded to pretty much its peak, its resistance here from 2015. So here is the 2015 high right there, and we've already traded to that, and right now we're just consolidating this general area. So if and when we can break out, we could see some higher highs on some retails, most likely. But in the same instance, if we break down, we'll trade maybe all the way down to 39, which would be a really good buying spot on this particular ETF. So that is the XRT. Mike says, looks like a possible head and shoulders on the Dow. Let's go back and take a look. Possible head and shoulders on the daily chart. I see what you're looking at. It's certainly a maybe. So Mike's looking at something like this. So you got this is the left, that's the head, this is a possible right. So if it came down to there, that would be an interesting angle too, because you'd have kind of this as your neckline. And what it would have to do on that, I'll kind of draw it in red, is for that to be a really good neckline, it'd have to break below there, which in fact would probably trade down to this support. So it'd break below there, have to retest, kind of break down. That'd be a hard one for it to break because there'd be so many supports in the way if it does turn into a head and shoulders. Certainly possible, but most likely, again, we're just in a nice distribution. We're in a nice rest. Here's the weekly. I am, in fact, the more that I drew that, what I just drew, Mike, I think you're totally right. We could trade higher and then pull back down, go a little bit lower, and that's when everyone thinks we're going to go bearish, and then we actually bounce again. That makes the most sense to me. Again, I still think that's the worst case scenario for the broader markets. Could obviously be wrong, but I would love to see that play out. So yeah, we'll see, man. That's a really good look. I like that pattern that you found. Thank you for sharing it with us. Perfect. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts, or broader viewpoints on the market? Otherwise, we will hop into all of these trades plus the trades that we are in right now. And again, some of these are the ones I was going to look at for the real life stock review today, but as I mentioned, I had to postpone that because I recorded it and it just the audio was very clippy. It was weird. I've never had anything like that happen. So I'm glad the audio is working right now. Okay, cool. Let's hop in and start looking at some stuff. TDOC, Teladoc. So Teladoc, this one was requested. Look at this weekly pattern. What a nice move. So here's the resistance on Teladoc right there. And you can see that we had a really pretty move. Boom. So that's a wave 2, wave 3, big wave 4 of some kind. This was a wave 5 breakout. And of that wave 5, you actually have a 1, 2, this is a wave 3 right here. And in that wave 3, you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're getting pretty close to the end of this wave on Teladoc, which means you'd have a little bit of a wave, a bigger wave 4, and then some form of wave 5 on TDOC. So doing that wave count to me would say I wouldn't be a buyer at this exact moment. In fact, you had a decent little candle Friday that had a little bit of bearish to it, a smidge of bearishness. This was a really nice retest right here. So you had this resistance, broke out, retested, and kind of bounced. That was nice. Also, a very pretty S-curve, as you can see previously, right there on Teladoc. Yeah, as far as my analysis goes on this one, if you're not already in bullish, I'd say look to buy around 57.60 if and when it can get there, unless you're trading it on like the hourly chart and you plan on being in and out within days. So here's the hourly. I'd say you'd probably look for a pullback, yeah, about 66.25 with a stop at about 65.25. Looks like it trades in 5-cent increments, so keep that in mind. And you'd be looking for one little thrust higher. That's my analysis on Teladoc. So let's go look at WST. WST, what do we got? West Pharmaceutical Services. Gonna pull up the weekly chart. Nice resistance there. So again, the reason I'm pulling up the weekly is because I don't really know what this company is or does. But that is a beautiful move. Nice. Okay. Well, if you're looking at playing West Pharmaceuticals, I think the good news is you got carte blanche to wait for either this pennant pattern right here on a weekly to close above that high and then retest and then bounce, or let it trade back down to either here or all the way back down to 84. That's really how I would look to play that one. You don't have too much going on, so if you have the daily chart over here on the West, kind of looks like a little bit of a double top. So as you all know, to play an effective double top at some level, you also want to wait for a close below that neckline, which would be a close below that 50 EMA, and then you're probably going to do a retest of that, and again, down into at least this support resistance. Now, my initial thought is I don't think this stock is gapping down, but I do like this lower shadow. This is one of those gaps I really do like a lot, where I can go back and look at a candle and I can see that candle has some obvious buying pressure. So if we're looking at this particular day right here on WST, nice long lower shadow coupled with the 50 EMA acting as a support and this bullish candle right here. So if the stock does create a gap action below that price and starts to open around 96, you know there's a lot of people trapped, so that would be a really fun day trade. Now, I don't think that's happening. I can go check really quick post market. Pull up the post market. Doesn't look like it's gapping, so all is well in WST. That's my thoughts. DocuSign, going to be really interesting to keep an eye on this one. So here's DOCU, and this is still in an ugly wave 4. Really ugly wave 4. So if you're looking at playing a breakout on DocuSign, you're going to want to close above this resistance, 57.80. So format that. I'm going to put this on the right-hand side. Now, with that being the case, if it does in fact close above that upper shadow from today, and more importantly, the big bearish candle here on the 27th of June, that's one way to play it. If you hop in here into an hourly chart, you're going to see a little bit of a channel. So let me just hide all my drawings here for a moment. There we go. And so if you are playing DocuSign, if you're more of an active trader, you can notice a little bit of a support resistance down here at about 51. So if you kind of bring up this little bit of a support here at the purple line at about 50, pretty much 54.90, got a little bit of a resistance right here as well. If that support breaks down, could even break down tomorrow, I would say that you could look to day trade that back down to support, or if you're unable to do that or you just don't want to do that, you could wait for that 51 level to become a support and then look to or keep an eye out to buy it down there. That also is very close to the 50 EMA on the daily. So I think the daily chart on the 50 is, let me pull this back up, 51.41. Yeah. So 51.41, if it can trade down to that area, I think that would be kind of that level of support on DocuSign. What's up, Pat? So there are some traders in some protective puts who are in some shares longer term. Some traders with some covered calls already up there at 80. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. I like it. I like the wave 4. I think it's a kind of an obvious wave 4. And we'll see if it trades back down into here and if we get a little bit of a bounce. Or if that doesn't happen, maybe it closes above 57.70. Gorgeous. Matt's he's working out at the gym on the treadmill, listening in. I like it. Effective workout, Mr. Matt. So that's my analysis on DocuSign. Right now, we don't have any trade in on that one. RLGY. I was looking at this real estate company not too long ago, and we were trying to determine if this is going to be a good place to buy the bounce on a monthly. And granted, we're pretty far into the month of July, I would say, the 16th, halfway in. And this is the candle This is the best candle that this stock can do. The good news about this one is you do have good risk reward. So if you're buying down here, which I'm not, but if you were, you could have a stop below here. I think that's almost too obvious though. So I would probably do like half an hour of risk at 22.50, half an hour of risk at 21.20, and put my stop somewhere below 20, like 19.63. That's probably the most effective way for whoever's looking at RLGY. Since this is a monthly chart, that's a 5-year term. This is a long play, like time-wise. The other way you could approach it is if and when we break out above the high of this candle, we close above this monthly high, this doji. So right now that monthly high is 23.74. So if we go up another point and close above there and you're looking at playing RLGY, that could also be one. But I would say do a little bit of research on the fundamentals of this company. It does pay dividends, but it is at a good buy low level. I'm not going to personally do it, mostly because right now I see it as a longer term investment, and I'm pretty much good on those right now. Let's go look at Lowe's. I was keeping an eye to see if we can get into some Lowe's action. And Lowe's had a really good bullish gap yesterday. Yesterday, of course, being Friday. Had a bullish gap and go, a little bit of an upper shadow. Here's the hourly. Lowe's looks pretty nice. Pretty goodly. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go through the trades that we're in now. I'm going to put Lowe's at the end because I'm really trying to determine which trades that we need to get out of, cancel, move on with, move up stops, lock in risk, and go take some more. So first and foremost, let's go down the list of stocks that we're either in or we have an official setup for. SFIX. So this is the first one, SFIX. And on this one was up 0.2% today, or 0.12%, sorry. Very good entry, I must say, 34.23. Still open, and I'm ready for that to break out. I think I'm just going to leave our stop where it is, even though we could easily lower it. I guess let's lower it. We'll just lower it, 31.23. It'll just reduce the amount of shares, but our risk is obviously going to be the exact same. I think where it is now, I don't think we're going to, if we break down, we'll just end up canceling it, but we're just going to modify this trade to make the risk a little larger because it does seem a tad on the voracious side. 31.23, and go over here. Updated numbers on SFIX swing trade. Okay. Kevin says, have a limit order set up on Netflix. We'll talk about Netflix a little bit. Depends if you have after hours buying set up and approved on your broker. But you can manually go in and accept to buy this one after hours. Okay, that's how you spell manually. And we're going to be looking at Netflix in a little bit. So yes, SFIX, we're going to update that entry. We're just lowering the stop by $1. I really do still like it. Nice little breakout opportunity. Let me just make sure this is the new link. I'm pretty sure it is. And nope, I did not update that yet. All right. Way to double check, Newsome. Okay, so SFIX. I will throw that in here. Boom. All right, cool. Next on the list is good old Dropbox, DBX. And Dropbox, as you all know, has been just so phenomenal over the last few days. We're still in it by the hair on our chinny chin chin, or the skin of our teeth, as they say. We did get back to break even at one point in the day, but not very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a time stop for this one If DBX has not closed above 33 by the end of the week, and I can get out for a profit, I will. Okay, and that is on 7, 16, 18. So that's that's pretty much my trading plan. So we've been in this one now for right at 6 days. Yeah, simple as that. I mean, if it doesn't start moving, if it doesn't really start cranking out, why stay in? So here's the weekly. I mean, 33 is not a huge stretch, even if it just gets above there one day. You know, so we'll see by Friday. We'll see what it looks like, but that's Dropbox. Hopefully we get a little bit of a pop and we can hold that one longer. Next on the list is Blue Apron, APRN. And I did look at this Friday. I did talk about the 50 EMA on a weekly chart. That's going to be something that's going to hold us down probably for 2 weeks, maybe more. Hope it doesn't, but it probably will. And I'm fine with that. 445 is the 2R target. You know, it came down to that level and kind of bounced again, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it doesn't have too much more of that, but even if you go to a monthly, you don't have tons of data on Blue Apron. There's also the 10 EMA on the monthly chart here. So if we do have to get out for a small gain at some point, that's okay. We can always get back in later. But if you have a little bit of a longer time frame on this one, right, you don't need it to pay the bills. I think this is one you can hang on to. At least for another 2 weeks. I'm gonna try my best. So Blue Apron, I do like the lower shadow today. So we are still profitable on Blue Aprn. Angela said she got out Friday for a wee profit. All right. Thanks for the update. Glad that you were profitable. Here is First Solar FSLR. And First Solar just not playing ball right now. We won't hold this one very long either because of earnings. I got a note, if it doesn't look good by Wednesday, I'm just going to get out. So if we have to take the small L on that one, we will. Hopefully we don't, but you know, the weekly chart, we're far away from moving averages. Maybe it bounces off the 200. You know, I don't plan on holding over earnings. Not saying that it certainly could not bounce. It could easily gap up very nicely on earnings. Just going to give that 2 more days, see if it still looks good, and kind of take it from there. So we're in for solar. Pepsi took us on a PEP. So Pepsi closed up 0.25% today, and I must say that one looks delish. So Pepsi, yep, we're going to keep that one open. Right, regular August, looking at those calls at 425. It got pretty close today, but did not trigger. So we will see, and we'll keep an eye out. I mean, Pepsi looks good. Johnny got out Friday on Blue Apron as well. Okay, so Johnny and Angela got out early on Friday and took their profits. I like it. So PEP, an aggressive trade to say the least. But I think if this one really starts cranking, it could be a fun move. Now, you could also play this one with shares if you want to. I'm thinking about adjusting that entry a little bit, even though it should fly. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it alone. Again, if you want to play with shares, you're more than welcome to. Pepsi will be more of an expensive stock, somewhat. JL is in this one bullish as well. And I like the volume increase today. I like the upper shadow. I like the hourly chart. I like everything about that breakout. That's why we're going to leave it open. So that's Pepsi. MGM. So again, we're just going through the trades that we're in right now. And MGM, we are profitable on it. So that's cool. So we got out of 1/4 of our position already. We got 3/4 left. I will sell before earnings, most likely. But 33.28 is going to be a target. 2 R's on this one is 31.84. You know, so if we get real lucky, we get up to 31.84, we have to sell for a profit, I might. I'm going to try to hold this one a little bit longer. It seems really obvious for it to roll over right here, so I don't think it will. So let's see if it can continue to pop at MGM. That's a profitable trade so far. Looks nice. Next on the list is CELG. And Celgene, I like this one a lot. So much, in fact. And we're going to give this one, we're going to decrease the stop on this one, which is good because that soaked up some serious buying power. Let's make it 84.82 on Celgene. And we're going to give this one until tomorrow. It has to trigger tomorrow, and if it doesn't trigger tomorrow, since earnings are so close, I'll just cancel. 7, 16, 18. Needs to trigger tomorrow. All right. Come over here to the Slack channel. Updated numbers in CLG. Needs to trigger tomorrow. Mikey Oldfield got in today on Celgene. Few traders are already in. All this is going to do is reduce the amount of shares that you're going to be buying a little bit, and therefore reducing the buying power a smidge. But there we go. So Celgene, I still like it if it can break out. I do like the pullback a lot. It did pull back to the 100, which was an original entry that I wanted. The reason I took the breakout is just because that nice little trend. So we don't have a whole heap of time left on Celgene until earnings. We'll see how quickly we can get in and get out of that one. Okay, and then next on the list, so again, a lot of setups, a lot of good swings out there. Feeling good, Toll Brothers. I like the high wave nature of this candle, keeping the trade open. So Toll Brothers, a little bit of an aggressive trade for sure. Here's the weekly candle. I mean, I like that high wave. Kind of looks like it wants to form a double bottom. Here's the hourly charts, still just hanging out. So Toll Brothers still open. And last but not least is gold, GLD. And gold also still open, hasn't triggered. So it doesn't look like we're going to add any new trades. All the ones that we have so far look pretty good. I will go ahead and look at 2 of the credit spreads that we got open as well. The newest one added today, well, you can thank Robert Falco if this one works or doesn't work. At least we have someone to blame other than myself. Just kidding. I was looking at this one a lot last week. I really like it. This is a 43.42, 30.29 August iron condor on U.S. steel. That is over earnings. It is over dividends. There's tariffs and stuff around the corner. The cool part about condors is one side has to work. Right? It's impossible for both sides not to work. So one of them is going to have to work, and then the other one that doesn't, I'll see if we need to exit, when we need to exit, if we need to unravel. We'll kind of figure that out as time gets closer. So that's the newest condor. That one did fill for 20 cents pretty much immediately. So that one's in. And the other 2 that really need to be not updated, but just looked at, because all the other ones are going to expire this Friday. Google. So I do like Google. I got a 120-130 bear call spread. So now I'm going to take up this trigger, and this is where I will exit the spread if we close above that price. So I'll come over here, Google. So we got 4 days left for this to expire. Very nice new black crow candle. Obviously could easily be a flag. I'm hoping with the Netflix gap down tomorrow that Google will also gap down a little bit. And the longer we have, yeah, gapping down 15 points. That's great. The longer we have into earnings, or sorry, into the end of the week, the more likely it is that I will continue to slowly creep that stop higher. But I watched this one very closely on Friday, pretty much all day Friday. Yeah, nice move on Google. Okay. Okay. Update the idea, Google. So far, this one got close, but I'll watch the rest of the week. Like I said, 4 days left on that spread. It's gapping down tomorrow, which is good. Long as it doesn't close above this price. close above. If it does that, I'll exit the trade. Otherwise, I'll just slowly keep creeping this trigger up as we get closer and closer to expirations. So that's Google. And the other credit spread that we need to update is TLT. This is a bear call spread, and I was glad to see it down a little bit today. So it's a 125, 126. Here's the weekly, and you got that 100 coming down with a full force of gravity. 123.69, that's the 100 on a weekly. That should hold down TLT a little bit. And if it does trade down far enough back into the support, if that happens between now and August, I will get into a bull put spread, but I think that's about it. Other than that, that's really all the main updates that we need. All the other put sales that we got going on, all of those look good. So thumbs up. Shouldn't be an issue on any of those. So a lot of green on option selling. Delicious stuff. So saying all of that to say, I don't think we're going to do any new trades. At least I won't personally. But we still have 28 minutes to go through these stocks and see if there's any trades that you find folks might be able to take. Let's start with Zoe's, Z-O-E-S. And the reason that Zoe's is on today, as many of you might be noting, is we wanted a close above this bearish candle. So that hasn't happened yet. Here's the weekly moving average. And the weekly moving average looks pretty good. Let's see. Got the weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, I like this candle. So here's the daily time frame. And the daily time frame, we have the bearish candle. I'd like a close above there maybe. And we'll keep waiting for it. That's really what I need, is a close above 1041. Now here's the hourly chart. You can see there are some previous wicks up there. Yeah, a lot of pre-market resistance. Okay, let's keep waiting on Zoe's then. Once we close above 1041, I'll consider some type of pullback or something. I'll put Zoe's on the list for later this week, and then I'll buy a retest of that. Okay, here's BJ's Wholesale, ticker symbol BJ. And this one we've been keeping a nice eye on. Newer IPO, kind of, sort of. Even though it's been on the market before, a lot of us know how it's traded. Had a really good breakout yesterday. And I would agree that it is worth watching again for a breakout of this candle. So some type of breakout there and there. So if this keeps trading sideways, I mean, the longer it trades sideways, I would kind of say the better. Here's the hourly chart for BJ's Wholesale. And the trend so far looks pretty toasty. So, yeah, I mean, I could really dig that. I like this on the daily chart. I do a lot. I like the inside day candle. We can come back to this one. Obviously, it could be a retest of the breakout, or if we trade sideways, even just one more day, this could be a nice one to take. So let's put that on here, put a stop right here, below that bullish white candle. I will put that on the list for tomorrow, which is Tech Giant Tuesday, and we'll see if we get a chance to snag that one. Sylvan, what's up, buddy? Here is HUA, H-U-Y-A. So I've been waiting for an inside day candle on HUYA. Haven't gotten it yet. That's what we talked about on the 12th, which was last week, and said, hey, let's see if we can get an inside day candle. Haven't gotten that yet. That's why I love setting up these patterns and saying, okay, I give it time. I tell the stock what I want it to do. We are gapping down very small post-market on HUYA. This one's going to be interesting. This could be a really fun flag pattern. Something like this. Rams, I will wait for a break at 39.5 or 40. Okay. So here's kind of your moving averages on the daily chart. Here's your hourly. It does look like a little bit of a channel is trying to form, so that's the good news. Like I said, it's down a little bit pre-market. We'll come back and look at this one tomorrow. I don't see a setup that we're going to get into exactly yet, but again, that's mostly because we already have so many trades set up that we want it to break out, pull back, trade sideways, something. But HUI is getting ready. If it just hangs out and doesn't do anything for the next week or so, wow, next week, I mean, next 2-3 days, this one could be a really nice breakout. So we are going to look at it tomorrow without question. And if everything still looks good per this setup, we'll probably have canceled CELG, and we can use that risk for this trade. Okay, next on the list is Tar Therapeutics. Nectar. Sounds like a raptor. That 10 holding down Tar Therapeutics. Here's what's interesting. Here's the weekly chart. Look at that compression. Woo-wee. That is a tight, tight pattern. That bad boy is going to pop one direction or another pretty soon, and this is a volatile stock. This is a double black diamond. Not for beginners. Not for those rental skis. The biggest question we're going to have is, what price do we take a breakout of? Let me turn on the extended hours and see if I can catch any wicks or something. All right, so really it needs to be kind of like above all of these wicks right there. What was that 48.64? So I'm setting this one up for pretty much just one trader, Brian, who loves playing Tar Therapeutics. And the stop will be down here, which looks like a massive stop, but it's really not on this stock. Look at that. That's a super tight range. So NKTR, strong maybe. And it's looking pretty good. Cheryl says, hey, everyone, Jeremy's on the Welt 365 at Tuesday at 6 p.m. Yeehaw. That is right. I think all of you have that link, but just in case you don't, I'll be happy to send it to you. I have a really cool program I'll be teaching, you know, when to take the breakout or the retest. It's a question I get the most often. So there is the link I put in the chat pane. Some of you might be watching this, you know, on our YouTube channel as it is recording. So I will be starting the afternoon room a little early tomorrow, actually at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 my time tomorrow. So I'll be sending out an email about that, but I will start a little bit early tomorrow because they want me there at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be there just a smidge early. So, yeah, it's going to be a really cool presentation. I'm excited to work with a lot of other seasoned veterans and traders and learn and grow. So that'll be tomorrow. The link is in the chat pane. So that presentation starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. So the afternoon room that we're doing right now, in this exact moment in time, we're going to do that together at 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And, of course, I'll be recording it. So if you can't get a chance to make it there live, all is well. But thank you for reminding Cheryl. I appreciate it. Tommy says you look like a kid without the beard. I know, man. I know. They didn't like my bearded picture for some reason. So I was like, all right, here's one with no beard. I appreciate it, man. So NKTR, we're going to keep a real close eye on this one because this thing could pop pretty quickly and be fun for some of our aggressive swing traders. Since it is Merchant Monday, here's some merchant stocks. Walmart. Talk about a boring, long-term blue chip stock to buy down here. Probably Walmart. Here's the weekly chart, and this is a very nice accumulation pattern, my friends. It doesn't get no more no-brainer than this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the accumulation of the wave 4. So this is a weekly chart. The wave pattern I just drew is over 2.5 years, which means it ain't going to be sexy and it ain't going to be cool and it's not going to be fast or pretty, most likely. But if Walmart can slowly accumulate down here and just slowly grind back up to 108, I mean, that's a 20-point move. Even if you got 10 shares, 20 points, 200 buckaroonies, not too shabby. So always just something to consider. Dividend paying stock, right? Buy low, sell high. That's kind of my thoughts on it. I mean, I like it a lot. It's just going to be a long term. This one could be a good one for smaller accounts to consider, maybe a younger trader, kind of a buy and forget it for a year or two type of location. This is likely one of those. Cheryl says, I put in my IRA for a long time. Sorry, I put in my IRA for long term. It does give a small dividend. Yes, it does. Pretty tiny, but constant and consistent. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Walmart. That's pretty much it. If you're a short-term trader, this is an inside day candle right here. And that's a nice, just very cool, very pretty pop up to the upside, easily attainable on Walmart. It'll be interesting to see if that actually does play out. Okay, that is Walmart. Here's Costco. And I had a buddy sell some puts on Costco back in that bullish gap and go back here in June. And he's doing very well on those. Well, it's doing as well as it can because it's, a put sale, so you only get so much premium. I mean, the trend is phenomenal on Costco. I would not buy here, however, if you're not already in. Nice long-term trend. This is the weekly. Here's your exponential moving averages. And, if I was looking at buying Costco, probably 202, 203, 204. I'd wait for a little bit more of a dip. This was the dip back here after 2018. Pretty boring stock, I agree, but it is Costco. So longer term, it'll go higher. All right, Southwest. We're going to be looking at Southwest on Thursday for Transportation Thursday. Looking at this one more or less for what I would love to see on earnings. Don't think it's going to happen because it would be too easy. But if, for some odd reason, Southwest gaps into this mid-50 range on earnings, it's going to be a really pretty gap. Don't think it happens. A lot of traders are in some covered calls, protective puts. They're just being patient. That's kind of been the status quo on Southwest for the last 4 months, is this should be a buying spot down here. Has all the signals, all the locations, all the prices. But it is now officially below that 100 on a weekly, and that'll keep it down for a while. But earnings could really change the trajectory of this stock. If it gaps above that 55 range, that'd be a really, really pretty gap. But also some traders are in Southwest longer term as a buy low, sell high, dividend playing stock. I love Southwest long term, so I get it. And if you're one of those people, cool. And if you're not, that is also cool. You can't be in everything. I get that. But it's all about building wealth. And wealth is built through accumulation of something, of really good companies like this, just having more and more of a position. That is my thoughts, at least Southwest. So we'll come back on Thursday and we'll do our gap analysis. Here's WEED, W-E-E-D. So WEED has made its wave 5 move, and now it is in a corrective cycle. At least I think. So here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3, here's your 4, here's your 5. So new all-time high. This is when everyone becomes an expert on medical marijuana. Everyone becomes an expert on Canadian weed policies. You get emails every single day about how you should be buying weed stocks. Though here and here is where I got all of that. So canopy growth on the TSX, just a little bit of a corrective cycle. I think at this point now, like it made its move, and I think a nice pullback to 28.5 would be reasonable. Neil says, no. Everybody was an expert on weed consumption. That's right. Not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing, is it made a really good move. And this is the exuberant cycle when everyone was profitable, new all-time high, and then it just took out this candle, took out this candle. We've closed below the low of this bullish candle. I'm not saying it is going lower. I'm just simply saying if it trades down to 28.50, that seems reasonable and likely. Because if you look at this chart, I mean, even Bitcoin doesn't go up forever. So you're going to have some pullbacks, that wave rotations, those do happen. And yeah, 27, 28.50, both of those seem a much more likely spot to pick some up. If you are in shares and you've been in for a while and you've been very profitable, or you are profitable, I would consider a collar, very similar to what I said up here. I said, hey, if you're in a profitable position, there's no way you can lose money. Why not get into a collar so that way you can guarantee that you don't lose any money? All right, here's Dropbox. All right, look at the Dropbox. Down 2% after hours, awesome. Okay, so we've already looked at Dropbox. Bank of America had a decent gap today. BAC. So Bank of America, a lot of financials, had some good pops today. So today and Friday, so some numbers came out on Friday. Here is your weekly chart. Sorry, that's your daily chart. Here's your weekly. And this one, just a beautiful morning star reversal pattern off of the 50 exponential on a weekly chart. So my thought on Bank of America is this thing pulls down to here, and that price is the high of the morning star on a weekly. That's 29.32. If you were looking at a spot to buy, or at least try to buy Bank of America, it would probably be there. I mean, this is the S-curve. So right here, right, that's the S-curve, that's the buy low, sell high. So it doesn't matter if it's going to work or not. I don't personally play Bank of America, but here's the daily chart, and this is a gap and go. And if I pull up this 5-minute chart, it had a beautiful pattern. I did not play Bank of America today, unfortunately, but look at this chart. I mean, this is clean. So you have a pre-market resistance right here. You had a hammer right before market open, broke above, retested. There's first spot to buy, right? S-curved it up, traded down again, and you got a one white soldier candle, which I did not see on Bank of America, and your entry would have been there, with a stop right there, and that would have been a killer trade. Killer. So BAC, I mean, that was a really pretty move. It was a gap and go, or is a gap and go, and if we do start making higher highs, I mean, it makes sense to me that you're going to start seeing some buying to some degree on some banks. Not immediately. I don't think we just do this, but we probably rotate down, bounce around for a little bit, maybe make a little bit of a lower low and then continue higher. Short term, they're all going to kind of trade the same. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all going to pretty much trade the same. So JP Morgan was up 4% today. And Jaden has a covered call at 120 expiring this Friday, so he's really happy to see JP Morgan. We were talking about it in depth on Friday, Finance Friday. We mentioned numerous times in the comment section that JP Morgan, probably one of the stronger banks. They had really good earnings, comparatively to Wells Fargo and things like that. And if this does pull back, I think it's a really good buy. Now remember, can't be in every bank. They're all going to trade very similar. Ken got 200 shares on Friday. Nice. Nice. Well done, Ken. So if this thing pulls back to 108 and some change, then that's healthy. We trade into the 100 today, so that's the reason for the pause. So yeah, I think it's going to bounce around, chop around, jump around. Let me go look at JPM for an August covered call for Ken. August 120, no real money. There is some money at a 115 for August, Ken. If you bought it around 106, and a 115 you could get 72 cents. You get 140 bucks to possibly sell at 115 if that's something that you're considering. And if you got exercise there, you'd be pretty much selling almost at the all-time high. But Jaden, I do like your covered call. That'll expire worthless this Friday. Nice buy, Ken. High five. Good pattern. And again, if you come back to the weekly, a lot of these patterns were kind of obvious. I mean, we were there at the 50 on JP Morgan. We haven't hit the 50 EMA on JP Morgan since July of 2016, aka 2 years ago. So yeah, it makes sense. I do think we're going to chop around a little bit, hang out, and then eventually go higher. Good move. We're going to have to talk about Netflix last. I know you're all going to hate me for that, but let me get through the rest because we're going to have to talk about that for about 5 minutes probably. NEW, I was watching this to break bullish. It did not, obviously. So I was watching for these higher lows, lower high. You had an inside black candle. I'm just going to put this stock on the list for, I don't know, Thursday of next week. NEW. Dr. Falconium says, why can't we have dessert first? I'm telling you, man. So that's NEW. It's just a stock that I was watching. I love the run up. Rams is new. Same here. I want to trade it bullish. Now I've got to wait. Exactly. And that's okay. We can come back to it later and have some fun with this one. But in the meantime, we'll put it on the list. We'll come back and we'll just wait it out. All right. Shake Shack today. Anthony says, it looks like a new IPO. Hey! Nice, nice. What I do like about Shake Shack, I had 3 or 4 people request Shake Shack today, and this is a nice white candle gapping up. It's a retest gap. So if you're playing Shake Shack, I'll put this one in the chat pane. This is not an official trade, meaning I'm not trading it. I can't be in everything, even though I do like this trade a lot. I got to just remove some risk before I just take a lot of these trades. But this is a really nice flag breakout, in my opinion. Shake Shack is one that we look at pretty often on Merchant Monday. And here's the daily chart. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to work. I will say if that one doesn't work, Ram wants me to draw the squiggle. If this doesn't work, we're going to go to the 50, and then you could try the bounce there. Now, keep in mind, earnings is around the corner. So just kind of factor that in. But based on the weekly, I mean, you got a nice high wave candle. If you want to do a little bit more conservatively, you can put your stop below the low of last week, and put your entry at the high of last week. So your risk is still only $3. It's really not that bad. So let's see, 62, 65, 36. So you could do something like this on Shake Shack. Makes sense to me. 65.36 by 62.36. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So whoever's looking at playing that one, that's how you could. Otherwise, next on the list. All right, IQ. Man, so there's a few traders in IQ. Well, I should say a few. There's about 100 real-life traders in IQ, all with different positions. We are gapping down a little bit pre-market, at least right now, which is actually probably a good thing because it's going to come back to retest. We'll see. IQ with a with a air quotes, the Netflix of China. With Netflix gapping down, IQ will probably gap down with it, but probably end up continuing higher. A lot of traders with some put sale on IQ. Those will expire Friday. And here's how I day traded it today. Tried to day trade it. Sorry. Here's how I attempted on day trading it. First, I'm gonna pull up the 1 minute chart. Now I did post this one in Slack real early this morning. Let me go over here to scroll up. There's a lot of good chats today, so awesome stuff, folks. So this is when Brad and Latoya are all posting the setups. Keep scrolling. Okay, so 8:28, 2 minutes before market open. There's a lot of Q gaps today on some of the new IPOs like IQ and HUIA. And here was kind of my my play on IQ. So I couldn't fill out the first one that I did because it was just too fast. Here was the second one, and obviously that didn't trigger. I'll just show you that in a second. But here's what I was thinking early this morning. I'll kind of go back to here. This is the 1 minute chart. So the 1 minute, so this is before market open. I saw it gapping down, gapping up. Here is the pre-market resistance. Let me just turn off all the moving averages for a second. I like the nice clean chart. There we go. So you'll notice very obvious pre-market resistance. Super simple. and really obvious pre-market support. So what was happening is when we got the first candle, I know it's a little hard to see with this version. I can try to zoom in some. But the very first candle was a black candle. There we go. And when that first black candle came in, I said, okay, we're probably going to fill this gap before we bounce. So what I did was I was setting up an order to get in at 34.40, right, which is just a hot, kind of like the hot resistance of yesterday, with a stop at 34 even. So something like this. So it was like a entry here with a stop here. Anyway, and so when that didn't so obviously what was happening is as I was setting that up on the 1 minute, the bullish candle flashed, the low flashed into it and flashed right out on a 1 minute chart. So I didn't get a chance to submit that before that wick got formed. So I was like, shoot, that was the wick. That was the retest, that gap fill. And then you can see the next few minutes, you had this little small black candle. So that's when I set up a breakout entry to get in at 35 by 34.50. So I set up an entry right here, 35 by 34.50, just an even 50 cents of risk. And that was a 1 minute candle. So I had a stop limit order. If I didn't have a stop limit order, I would have gotten filled to like 34.50. That would have been, or 35.50. That would have been a bad day. I would have gotten almost an R on slippage. That would have been kind of bad. But anyway, did not get filled at the first breakout, left it open per that chart. And when it pulled back, obviously the low of that candle was 35.17 and did not fill me at 35. So bottom line, I set up 2 trades on IQ in the first 7 minutes of the day, didn't get filled, and that was that. RAM, yep, I look at the cues at the beginning of every single afternoon class. So if you want every single day in the afternoon, when it first starts, if you want me to look at a cues day trade, I can. I looked at one today as well at the very onset of the program. So yeah, so oh, you said when to trade the cues. Correct, yep. So the cues, man, it can be traded for anything. Long-term, short-term, intraday, swing, day trading, they're beautiful. Love the cues. Yeah, if you want, when you watch the recording, go back to the very beginning. I talk about how to day trade the cues for tomorrow. All right, here's Tesla, TSLA. And what's interesting on Tesla is it did not close below this pattern. Again, did not close, but it is gapping tomorrow. The low of today, 306.25. And it's gapping to 306.85. Tommy says, with Tesla, any thoughts on Musk antics? Good for business. He is a genius. I didn't see that one, Tommy, but I mean, no one's perfect. People are going to say stupid things, but I haven't seen that particular note. That might be why it's gapping down, though. So this is a really, really interesting candle. And since it's gapping tomorrow, and you got this high wave, and we already gapped yesterday, if it breaks lower, I mean, be on the lookout for a bearish trade. So yeah, I haven't seen the news about any of the cave diving exploits regarding his comments or anything that he said, but I can go look afterwards. But it is gapping down a little bit. Elon Musk's social media conduct may be bad for his business. So again, I haven't read out on it yet. However, I mean, he's been doing social media stuff, you know, numerous times in the past. This is definitely not the first time, whatever he said or whatever he did. I'm not condoning it, just simply saying he's done it a lot before. Tesla doesn't make money at all. They have revenue, but they're certainly not profitable. They burn a lot of cash. So we'll see. I mean, one thing, one bad reputation, I mean, that could really shake up the company as long as it doesn't do anything, you know, too asinine. But here's your really interesting trend line on Tesla. So yeah, I'll be watching it with this high wave candle with this gap down pretty much tomorrow for a potential bearish trade. You know, here's the 15-minute chart. So if we hold this level and we break down tomorrow, yeah, let's watch it for a bear. Okay, Lbl Brands. So again, this is Merchant Monday. We like to look at a lot of merchant stocks. And the reason I was looking at L Brands, looks like it's actually gapping down a little bit post-market. This is going to be a high aggressive trade, but somebody was looking at it, and I dig it. You got some support here. You got an inside day bullish candle here. It's a 2-day pennant pattern out of support after a bearish retest gap. Meaning, could we trade down to support and bounce? Entry there, stop there. Absolutely. Will that happen? That part I do not know. But if you're looking at playing L Brands, that could be a really good play to keep your eyes on for whoever requested this one. Because here's your hourly chart. If you zoom into the hourly, you'll notice there's not a whole lot holding L Brands back if it does take out 32.51. So I can put down the chart. If you're looking at playing L Brands, something like this, buy something like this, and let it rock. That's my thoughts on L Brands. So if you buy low, sell high. Next on the list, I got 5 more. So here's BABA, BABA. And we had a day trade earlier today that we ended up canceling. Latoya did play it bearish for a small gain, I think, at one point today. But here's the 5-minute chart. And we were setting up a bullish trade for a breakout here with a stop down here, and this came down and kind of poked its head through the stop, this particular candle. So canceled that one on BABA. It was a title aggressive trade anyway. John has a bull put spread. Camille has a put sale. What I like about BABA is it is stuck right in between, or for now, it was 2 days ago, between the 100 and the 200. BABA, about to consolidate some. Higher lows, lower highs. It's going to just chop around in here for a bit and all kinds of variant different levels. And once it breaks 195.22, she'll get rocking and rolling. But until then, I think a bullish non-directional play on BABA is smart, like John Wheeler did the bull put spread. There'll be some other opportunities on this one. If at any point it trades down to the 50 EMA on the weekly, I think it's viable. But right now, I'm going to wait BABA out for a little bit and just let it keep consolidating. The last time I drew a pattern on BABA, I said I was going to do this. Trade down, trade up, trade back down, and bounce. Very possible that we do that. If BABA trades back down to this like 186 region. But for right now, I'm just going to wait it out, and I'll probably do a bull put spread at some point later. Now, the interesting thing is the low of today is 189.15. And we are gapping down post-market. So I can say if BABA opens below the low of today, then I think you're going to have a nice little fast-paced sell-off tomorrow down into the 200, which really is not that far away. I don't think we're going to get there tomorrow necessarily, but we could. And, yeah, be on the lookout for that, for a gap down tomorrow on BABA. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and write that down now. Tuesday morning, BABA. All right, next on the list. So these are the ones that are requested for the stock review, and I'm just putting them in today. Cheryl said so would go short on BABA. That is correct. Very short term. Very short term for days or minutes, or sorry, minutes or hours. So the stock was requested for DF, Dean Foods. Here's the weekly chart on Dean Foods. You can see it's had a pretty dramatic sell-off from 21, so it's down 50%. If we go to a monthly chart, we've been down here before on Dean Foods. So here's the monthly. And the daily chart on Dean Foods, Looks pretty okay. We had a decent amount of volume come in today. This is a very nice bullish gap and go right here, though. Good bullish gap and go, bearish engulfing candle, volume. So with Dean Foods, I would expect it to trade down into $10 or maybe even $9.50 before it bounces. So if you're looking at playing Dean Foods, those would be the two levels I would suggest keeping a close eye on to buy the dip. It's sideways. It's in an accumulation area. I don't see anything dramatically fantastic on a short-term level. Long-term, feel free to keep your eyes peeled on that one. All right, 3 left. Here's Etsy. And Etsy, ETSY. It's gapping down a little bit tomorrow, 41.64. Interesting. That'll be a good gap on Etsy. Had a little bit of a lower shadow today. It's below the 20. I can already tell, though, that that's going to not be a real gap. Most likely. I'm going to put it on the list anyway. But based on that volume, I don't think Etsy's going to actually open down there. I think it's just a false print or something. So, yeah, with the gap down on Etsy, a possible gap down could be a fun trade tomorrow. Otherwise, the big thing on Etsy is it's already moved monstrously far. So here's the weekly chart. Over the last 2.5 years, Etsy's gone up like 500%. I do like Etsy longer term. I would say a pullback into 36 would be really quite fantastic if and when it can ever get that. Because that's the pre-market, or not the pre-market, the IPO high. So if it can ever pull back to 36, I do like it as a longer term buy. Here's the daily charts, and I mean, realistically, it just moved so far that we're about to start a distribution phase, I would imagine. Something where we trade sideways for a bit. So if you're looking at playing Etsy, shorter term or longer term, look to buy it as low as possible because we're going to chop around for a while, I feel like. And again, if you want to play it longer term, instead of using stops, you could use protective puts to kind of keep you in that trade longer. But yeah, right now on Etsy, I don't have any plan. The last time I did a limit buy, I missed this trade by 25 cents. So that was too bad. I missed the low of that candle by 25 cents. So I will wait on Etsy, let it trade down, and we'll come and keep coming back to that. But yeah, at 36, I think Etsy's a solid buy. So we're looking at lows earlier today, and I said, all right, well, I don't really have any risk to apply on this trade. If you do, or you're looking at lows or you requested lows, I like lows higher. My entry was going to be, if you didn't already buy it on this pullback, which really would have been best, buy it right at the breach of the low of this retest gap, like 98.87. By 97.50 or something. If you played it like that, phenomenal. If not, you know, and you're looking at playing lows, then your entry would probably be above the high of that candle with a stop somewhere down here. And just let it break out and kind of do its thing. Trend looks good. Daily chart looks good. I really like the gap from 2-3 days ago. I really like this 3-day candle pattern right there. And it all started from this just delectable bullish gap and go on earnings on the 23rd of May. That was a no-brainer. All right, and last but not least, here we go on to Netflix. Someone told me that Netflix was gapping down earlier today. I figured that was going to be the case. I still like Netflix, but it's just been doing so much for so long that at some point it has to rest. And here's the analysis that I posted about, at this point, 8 hours, not 6 hours ago. So these were the 3-4 boxes, so we don't have to worry about the 2 top boxes. We can turn those off. But it was pretty much saying the trend on the monthly is just too high to sustain buying up here. I think Netflix is going to gap down on earnings and trade higher. As long as Netflix doesn't gap down into the red zone, which it is, should be more bullish than bearish. Even with a gap in the red zone, I think I expect some short-term selling along with some longer distribution. So this was, we can take off the 2 boxes up here. This is a bearish gap and go on Netflix. And so it says mic drop. Yeah. It's at 343 and some change right now. So we're actually a little bit below. We're kind of in no man's land right now. We're right about here. So I spent about 12 hours this week trying to determine what Netflix was going to do on earnings as far as the wave rotation. And I think I got it. Type in a 1 if you want me to see what I think it's going to do. Here we go. Go back trade Red Hat RHT. And some of you might remember that I did draw this after earnings came out. So if we go back over here to this, so here's Red Hat RHT. Once I knew what the gap was doing, so I did not think that Red Hat was necessarily going to gap down, even though it makes sense that it was going to because it was just so high. I think Netflix does something like this because it's just been an absolute powerhouse of a trend, but people are going to get hosed tomorrow a little bit at some point. So if you go into, I think we could almost plan for a candle exactly like this on Netflix tomorrow. It's going to buy, it's going to start running up. Then it's going to roll over. I'm going to look for some puts at a high level tomorrow on Netflix. Go in and back trade. If you want homework, go in and back trade these 5 to 6 days on Netflix. So it's a swing puts. I was planning on doing a day trade, but it depends on how high it goes and what the rollover looks like if we get one. I'm not bearish on Netflix long term. Hope everyone knows that. I just think this is a really good gap. It's only down 14%. The challenge is the 100's at 338. So here's an interesting thing on Netflix, 338. And Robert Falco posted some really good material on the level 2 data, all the people buying and selling on Netflix. So here's the level 2. So someone bought a whole heap ton of shares, 19,000 lots at 448. So they're getting burned a little bit. But yes, Netflix, I can almost assure you, is going to trade down into the 100. It probably will do that post-market. So that's right about here. It's going to happen real fast. And I'm looking to go long on Netflix up into about here. And I'm going to look for Netflix to roll over and do something like this. So feel free to take a screenshot of that. That's not necessarily tomorrow, like all that drawing. That's just going to be for the next few days. I'm not saying it will happen. That's just what I'm planning for. It makes sense that that occurs. And realistically on the daily chart with a gap like this, because this is a gap and go, right? We haven't hit the 100 in forever. This is going to be a really good distribution for my put selling fans, my bull put spread fans. I think you're going to get a lot of opportunity on this one. I think Netflix does this, 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 that. That's my thoughts on Netflix from here. I'll keep that chart for you fine folks and for anyone who's watching this recording. Oops, didn't mean to take those boxes away. Is it going to happen to that? Maybe. Ram says, how will Netflix affect the Qs and other tech stocks? Down. It will drag them down initially. But again, Ram, as I mentioned at the very beginning of today's class, I think Netflix is going to gap down tomorrow and bring the Qs down, and the Qs will probably get bought up to some degree. So it's going to gap down and fade the gap because it's just one stock gapping down. But here's a funny thing. They did really well on earnings. The earnings numbers were good. They just weren't as good as people wanted them to be. And they still had fantastic. So they posted weaker than expected second quarter revenue and subscriber Monday afternoon. But not really, though. They still had phenomenal revenue Falco says they only added 5 million subscribers. I know, right? They only added 50 million in revenue. Tommy says, any earnings of note for the rest of the week? Tons. Tons and tons. Let's see. Story continues. Ram says they're looking at least 100 million subscribers in India alone. Absolutely. Yeah, they'll get there. They'll get there. 5.2 million, a substantial drop from the 6.2 estimate provided in April. The company added 4.4 million international subscribers. It's April estimates. Okay. Company reported a profit of 384 million. Even like I said, even though they topped their shares consensus. Revenue rose from 3.9 billion from 2.79 billion the year before. That's phenomenal. Strong but not stellar. I mean, I agree. The bottom line is they had good earnings. It just wasn't as great as it needed to be. James posted their P&L in Slack. All right, beautiful. I'll have to look through it. It might have been somewhere else. Oh, right there. Okay. Got it. So I'm going to go look through that. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Netflix, folks. I'm all out of my Netflix positions. I think you guys know that. Ashley and I are fully out. Didn't get out in the very top. We got real close. So the gap down like this on Netflix, people will be trapped. I think this is a really good indication, this green line of what happens on Netflix. And there will be some opportunity for some option sellers to take hold. I mean, if we just get down to 300, that would be a megalithic. I mean, 121-point drop, 30% drop. It'll be a no-brainer question, a no-brainer buy on Netflix down at those levels. But, I mean, here's the monthly chart. So if you're wondering why I sold Netflix, that's pretty much why. Needs to rest. So this distribution phase really could last for a few years up on Netflix. Plenty of time to make and trade some opportunities, but it needs to pull back. I'm glad it is. It's going to give some people some opportunities to buy lower and do some put sales, some option selling. But this is a strong gap, no denying. It's just not going to make itself super obvious. If it doesn't bounce off that 100, it could easily keep going lower. So. Cool. All right, folks, there it is. And again, for those watching the recording, thank you for watching it. I appreciate it. And tomorrow is Tech Giant Tuesday. CBLK, PVTL, IBM, RDFN, Johnson Johnson, Dropbox, MELI, Workday, Sogo, NKTR, Netflix again, BJ's, HUIA, Apple, Bava, Pivotal's already on there. Facebook, Google, Amazon. Anything else you guys want to look at? BILI, the VIX, says Sylvan. All right. We can look at the VIX. BK, Goldman Sachs. Wonderful. SMAR. And again, for those who are subscribing to my YouTube channel, who get access to this, or for those who are checking their emails, if you like this type of analysis, if you like the flow of the class, if you like the rhythm, and you want to be in just the afternoon class, get at me. I'm doing this pretty much because my recording from earlier got messed up. Paul says, I missed Aprn. Will you have this recorded on a smaller scale? We have this recorded on a smaller scale. Yes, Paul. So every single day from 5 to 6 p.m., we do the class. I do get it recorded. I'll be sending it out in about 2.5 hours. Keep your eyes on your inbox. You'll be getting that momentarily. You guys are rocking. Until next time, live life, trade it. Bye. Hey traders, it's me, Jeremy Alexander Newsome. So back in early July when I did the sports month, kind of the challenge, let everyone know I was going to do 500 burpees. I mentioned I was going to do a video. So this is kind of it. So I'm at burpee 335 right now. What time is it? It is 1:20 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna knock out the rest, then go to a friend's house. I did 100 early this morning, had a huge breakfast, and so far I think I've drank about a half a gallon of water and Gatorade, like electrolytes, that kind of thing. So I didn't want to film the burpee push-ups because it's so many. You guys would be bored. 500, it's a long video. So anyway, yeah, I'm wearing a black shirt. You can't tell. Repping this one. You can't tell that it's like just soaked in sweat. Anyway, I will send you another video in just a little bit. Give you another update. Probably when I'm at 400, I'll shoot that video, and then I might video the last 50 or something. Who knows? All right, you guys rock. All right, it's 1:55 p.m. I told myself I'm gonna get all these done before 3 in the afternoon. 400 done, 80% of the way finished. Hardest part is the push-ups. That's tough. My right shoulder, rotator cuff, whatever, sore. Left calf is getting sore. It's really just a lot of monotony, man. Whew, but gonna get it done. One of the best ways to achieve your goals. Write it down, figure out how to do it in small blocks, tell people about it, set a date, do it. That's it, baby. 100 left, 500 burpee push-ups in one day. I've never done it before in my life. I feel really good, feeling confident. We got this. Whoo, Newsome's getting wrapped. All right, you guys rock. All right, everybody. How are you? I'm at 475. Chest is sore, legs are sore, hip flexors right here, they're getting pretty rough. I need some motivation, so I asked Ashley to turn the camera on. I always perform best in front of people, in the heat of the moment, in the biggest stress. So I'm not gonna do 25, I'm gonna do 26. I'm gonna do one additional one. One more push, make it 501 burpees today before 3 p.m. That was my goal. So earlier I left out one of the goals. I mentioned 5. Your 6th thing to complete a goal, 6 things that help, is set a deadline, right? Pick a day, set a deadline, come up with exactly what it needs to get done by, and then make it happen. So I'm gonna knock out 5 sets of 5 with one special one at the end. Here we go. That's right, I've done almost 500 of those today. Oh man, the hard part was not the burpees, the hard part was the push-ups and just doing it. Very repetitive motion over time, making sure that I stretch well. Yeah, that's gonna be the key. But remember, you can accomplish anything that you want, whatever goal that you have. Those are the 5 things you must do. We just talked about those, and I hope you enjoyed the real life stock review. Obviously, this is the very end, and if you want to rewatch these, maybe if you want to just do 25 burpees with me every day, you can rewatch me do these 25, 26, or you can go back to a previous video that I did back in May and watch some of those. But either way, thanks so much. At the end, I'm going to show you the type of workout I'll be doing in August. And I'll do 5 consecutive ones every day for that month. But I'll start back over at 5 in August. So this is kind of like my peak for July. This is kind of like the apex, if you will. All right. Yeah, so July sports month, I got the game of lacrosse next Wednesday. I think the plan is for me to be goalie. I would like Ashley to come out there. She'll be out there probably filming or taking pictures or something. Shout outs to Michael Ramsey, who's in the exclusive Real Life Trader group who mentioned he was also going to be doing lacrosse. For all those who are doing other sports activities, great job, keep it up, whatever it might be. The month of July is doing really well. I'm around 6 hours for the month of July. So far, hope you're doing fantastic. Still have 2 weeks left. Next week, well, sorry. Yeah, this upcoming weekend, by the time you're watching this, Chicago, that weekend. Myself, Matt DeLong, a few other traders will be there for the Chicago meetup. All right, we ready for 16 more? Highlands here for motivation. All right. Are you gonna do it with me, buddy? Here we go, 5 more. 16 more, plus an additional special one at the end. All right, 11 more. Snag some water, almost done. Almost there, almost there. Now, to knock out the last ones. Here we go, it's been a good day. Got a lot accomplished. One of my goals for me, after doing all this starting in May, working out really hard, watching my calorie intake, what I eat, all that good stuff. I want to be able to go shirtless for the last 10, last 11. That's right, now you guys know what's under the beast. Here we go, we're doing all 11 at once, finishing strong. The last one I'm going to show you what I'm doing all month of August, 5 consecutive ones every single day. But you will see that in August, so in between now and then, let's get ripped. Let's do this. Woo! All 10, baby. All 10. You gotta finish strong. I can barely do it. 5 more. 4 more. Fist. 3 more. It's so hard. 2 more. Come on. Don't stop moving. 2 more. It's so difficult. Left trap. Starting to cramp. 1 more. 500. In 1 day. And I got 1 more to show you. This is called the Spider-Man. We'll be doing it. It's gonna be legendary. Woo! Okay. Preview, future glimpse, if I can even hold it. Here we go. You're gonna come down to a burpee, come out, left, right. That's gonna be the special one. 500, 100% done. Ladies and gentlemen, from your boy at Real Life Trading, thank you so much for helping me enrich lives. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.